Just checking to make sure this one was actually going to work. And it looks like it is working. So, good on that. Okay, so I'm going to try to pop one every month. Maybe some months more, maybe some months we won't do one. And just open it up for questions. Anything people are having a hard time with, if you're in a reality and you want a little guidance on something, or to maybe see something you can't see. I kind of wanted these Q&As to be that. I wanted them to be an assistance, kind of a tool. Because I know sometimes the videos, they kind of might activate something, and then sometimes you want to go a little bit farther. So I did want to come on once a month and do this. And if I don't have any questions, I will just go over some of the biggest questions I get and kind of reinforce those, because there are some questions I feel like are always asked. And it doesn't really matter where you are in your process. There are some questions that always kind of want to pop up, you know, and it changes as we go, and everything changes as we go. That's why when you think one thing is true one day, you turn it on the next day and it doesn't feel true anymore, because it's not true anymore. You know, everything changes, everything moves to a different iteration, a different frequency of where you were before. So it's one reason why I don't go back and repurpose content. Because if you go back and repurpose content, I'm basically taking old stuff. For me, it's old, and it feels old, and it might not even be true anymore. So if I try to repurpose it and bring it back again, I'm tying myself back to that consciousness, back to that dimension. Now, I don't take it down, because in some dimensions it is true. You know, it's not like it's not true. The truth is going to always change, because you can see more. You know, at one point I can only see, that's why my videos got longer. If you go back to my earlier videos, they're like 2 minutes long. And if you look at those videos, they're very quick. Now they're longer because you can see more. You know, once we can see more of a question, more of a reality, more of the whole energetic cycle of something, we want to kind of throw all that in, you know. That way it's kind of something for everyone. It doesn't really matter where you are. I have a lot of people now looking at older videos, because a lot of the collectives are there now. You know, a lot of the collectives are in the older videos. A lot of the collectives are looking at, because that's where they are now. So it's kind of important to remember that, you know, as we go through our cycle, that everyone's in a separate place, and everyone's not going to be where you are. Everyone's not supposed to be where you are. You might feel some commonality with some people, but I even find that is short-lived, because someone beginning the fourth dimension and ending the fourth dimension, it's totally different iterations of consciousness in that one dimension. So even if everyone's in the fourth dimension, if you're in a separate place in the fourth dimension, it's not going to really feel like the same, because you're in such a different place. You know, when we first started getting into the fourth dimension, I did a couple videos on this. I want to think around the new year, I think. I don't remember. It might have been longer than that. But just to explain what that dimension is kind of like, and how you come into it, and then how you go out of it. Normally we come into it seeking something very specific. You know, we're trying to seek a partner. We're wondering why a relationship didn't work. We wonder why money's not working. We wonder why just life in general is not working. That's what pushes a lot of people into the fourth dimension. Whereas, because it's not working. So anyone who is still having it work, human dimensions are working in some capacity, they're not going to feel the need to leave, because it's working. And that's kind of the biggest roadblock we'll come to, is when we start to go, and we start to go on our journey, we want everyone to come with us. You know, we want it to be like everyone get in the wagon. It's like a bandwagon journey. And I was watching, I didn't actually watch Willow when it was on Disney Plus, but I watched some reviews of Willow. And there's one guy who was really funny. He's talking about, I guess, this wagon that kept slowing them down. They kept trying to get everybody on the wagon, everybody would go together. And he said, just burn the wagon. This wagon is in so much trouble. Just burn the damn wagon. Why do you keep dragging this wagon? And that's kind of what we do for a while. You know, we will drag a wagon to fit everyone in our reality in that wagon to go with us. Because we don't want to go by ourselves. You know, we want there to be some familiarity, why can't I say that word, in our new realities. on our soul line realities. We don't want to believe that nothing we created before, it's all corrupt. We don't want to believe that. It's bad AI. You know, it's bad. It's a corrupted program. It's a virus in the program. We don't want to believe that. So we want to keep dragging all this stuff with us. And that's what makes it harder and harder to do. You know, the fourth dimension in the beginning, it's created to suck you in. It's a slow extraction. It's sucking you in to get you out of the third dimension because there's something in there not working. So you're looking for some other reason to go into the fourth dimension, right? You're looking for something to give you a clue of what's going on because the physical doesn't feel like it's like something beyond the curtain. Why am I so, why am I so obsessed with this person? Why is this always turn out the same way? You know, why is the money thing? Why do I keep circling around that? Why do I not feel like why do I feel like I'm missing something? Like there's a message in a bottle somewhere I'm not getting, you know? We feel like it's such a message in the bottle because we don't want to read the message. It's kind of amazing when you start to open up how clear the messages are, and we're the ones that put it through this complete, just confusing, picking it apart because we don't get the message. The message is not difficult. In the beginning, the messages are not going to be difficult. We just don't want to hear them because it's not normally what we want to do. So in the beginning, things seem to open up quicker because they have to. If they don't open up quicker, our human is still very much in control at that point, and we're going to lose interest. So if we don't open up quick, we lose interest. And if we lose interest, then, we're not going to want to keep going. So it's kind of like anything you start, you feel like you make your gains faster in the beginning. If you want to equate it to something human, anything, weight loss, a weight loss thing we do, even a training thing we do. It feels like in the beginning, wow, I'm really picking up so much steam. Everything is really moving so fast. And then later on, it's like, wow, now I feel like I'm not getting it. I plateaued. We plateau for a lot of reasons. We plateau because we need to clear more. We plateau because we can't be trusted with more information. So a lot of the information we get in the beginning is just, it's about us, but we also feel like we get a lot about other people, which is where we kind of get into this kind of sticky part where we're getting information about other people because we're basically opening up our field and that information is available in our field so we can see and feel and touch everything. And it feels very palatable. So, and we don't have the emotional blockages to information about other people. It doesn't involve us, so, I don't give a shit. Well, and that sounds, you get my meaning. I don't have the emotional block here. Because it's about someone else, I'm more open to the message. And that's when you see a lot of people getting into psychic stuff or tarot cards, doing tarot card readings for people, even medium type of stuff, because we've opened the channels. We just feel like we don't get our stuff. And there's a lot of people in the beginning, you'll see all the stuff that says, oh, you don't read your own stuff, or you can't read yourself. In the beginning, that's true. But it's not that we can't read ourselves. We don't want to listen to our own advice. We want to listen to what someone else has to say, because they can get it clearer because it's not their stuff. So we do see that in the beginning quite a bit. We're more open to everything else than we are to our own issue. Because it starts to lead us down a road a lot of times we don't want to go, because we're still trying to grab all this stuff, this higher consciousness, energetic stuff we're learning about. How things work, how things build, crystals, andaras, the dream world, how that works, what the purpose of the dream world is, which is a zillion different purposes of the dream world as we go. We kind of push all that stuff together and then kind of want to put it back. We want to then take it and bring it back to the third dimensional and see if we can make it work. And for a little while it does work. And that's when a lot of people kind of want to stop the journey because they've gotten they feel like they have more power to do things. They have more power to read the field. They have more power to, go into what humans going to talk about. Telepathy, we like to talk about it here. We talk about it more as reading the field, more ESP. Telepathy is kind of the human spin on it. It's more manipulation in that word because we're trying to use it. And that's really when you find you plateau. When we're trying to use it to make realities that are not highest line, we're trying to use it to make someone come back into our reality. We're trying to use this kind of stuff to create something that is not highest line. That's when you start to plateau. That is when you're going to reach that point where you're like, okay, well, it's not working. This stopped working. Why does it stop working? Because we've gotten enough, and now we can't be trusted to go any farther, because we have to clear what we have going on around all these situations that's brought up. So if you found you've had a lot of progress in the beginning, and then you feel like it starts to wane, you know, there's a reason for that, and there's not a hard fast rule on why. You know, there's not a hard fast rule on, well, how come this worked and now it doesn't work? What's going on? What's going on with me? It comes from the clearing more and more and more and more of our programming to get to the next level. You know, in the beginning, it's easy. It feels easy. It feels natural. And that's what it's supposed to feel like. Same thing about dreams. You know, when we start going into the dream world, and I did a lot of work in the dream world, and I think it's funny, I left this out of one of the first videos I did about fourth dimension, and I remembered it later, and I did a kind of a, I guess I did a carry-on video to that, or a second installment of that type of video, where I talked about the dream world, because I'm like, how did I forget about the dream world? That was such a massive part of the fourth dimension for me, was the dream world. And it was so funny, because I just totally kind of left it out of everything I was talking about, because the dream world is the beginning for all of us. You cannot go to higher dimensional realities, higher dimensional consciousness, higher dimensional anything, if you're cut off from your dream world. You just can't do it. It doesn't work like that. That's the first wave, in a sense. It's kind of the first thing you're going to be able to do is tap in there. Because your consciousness is able to run free without the human programming getting in the way. That's why we see so much. That's why we feel so much when we're in those dimensions. And that's why it's so important that when we get in those dimensions and we start looking at the dream world, we really pay attention. I see so many people want to discount the dream world. But everything that happens in the physical world is fine, no matter how fucked up that is. But boy, if I have a weird dream, that's just a weird dream. I don't want to even think about it. I don't want to talk about it. And there are points in Ascension where we know we're clearing different realities in our dream world, ones we're not going to go through. But that does come much later. That is not something that's going to come when you are first faced with it. When you're first opening up the dream world, we're getting shown things. We're getting activated in different aspects. We're getting activated to different futures. We're seeing it. We're going to call it the future because it's just a frequency we haven't gotten to yet. That is why in the very beginning, I would say that the first few minutes when you're falling asleep, and when you're right before you wake up, right before you fall asleep, it's one of your highest states of psychic power, in a sense, when we're first starting. Because we're still semi-connected, and I also felt like everything I saw in that space came quicker because it wasn't that far from the frequency of my body. Because it was almost felt like it was right there. You know, so sometimes I would see something that would happen that day. I might see something that might happen a couple of days later, but it wasn't like this big latency on it. Whereas a lot of people say they don't dream the future, they don't dream anything, which, like I said, we're going to call it the future just because it hasn't materialized yet. It's technically not a future. It's just a dimension we haven't gotten to yet. It's a dimension that we have not reached yet. That's why you see, and the same thing happens in our waking life. You see a lot of people talking about different experiences they have. You see a lot of this when you see people connecting with their galactic aspects and connecting with even channeling. I'm going to bring in channeling here, though we're still just channeling aspects of ourselves. You see a lot of people say, oh, I don't remember. Or I can't remember what happened there. Or I don't remember what was going on there. I don't remember how that situation played out. And people go back and say, oh, well, they're trying to explain this occurrence they had, but it's totally different how they explain it now than how they explained it then. Because it was a higher frequency. We can't remember it. So we start putting it into our consciousness now, even though it was a consciousness from, it's a higher consciousness that now we can't get hit again. So you see stories change. You see people remember things differently because the frequency is different. Now, that's going to work two ways. Either the frequency was higher then, which is what happens in our dream space, why you can't remember your dreams for that long, because your frequency is going to drop down to your home base, in a sense, which is your body frequency. It's going to drop down to there. And if you're dreaming at a higher frequency, which your dreamings are always in a higher frequency, you can't remember them. Because you can't hold the frequency where the memories are. You don't remember. That's why people will write it down right away before they drop, before they forget it. And even if you write it down right away, you'll find you're starting to forget it as soon as you start writing. Because you're getting now in a linear mode to write something, you're already dropping your frequency. So some people, I'll see them do a tape recorder. Well, it used to be a tape recorder. Now I guess it'd be something on your phone. But it used to be old school tape recorders. People would try to record it because it didn't cause that really quick drop where you were back into a linear mindset. It would kind of keep you in a little bit higher state because you were just talking about what you saw. And as long as you're just talking about what you saw, it kind of kept you in a different space, in that higher frequency. So like I said, it works two ways. You also will find your memories of lower frequency realities start to go because you've now transcended those. You can't remember them anymore. And situations where you'll see situations where people have they'll be in the same situation that occurred. Everyone remembers it differently. Everyone's in a different frequency now than they were in then. Everyone was in a different frequency then when the whole thing occurred. So they're going to not remember it exactly the same in the beginning when it just occurred, and they're not going to remember it the same way 10, 15 years later because they're in a different frequency. So it works if it was a lower frequency or a higher frequency. Not to compare lower or higher, but just to understand that your body frequency is going to shift, and you can't carry the lower frequency memories into higher frequency realities because technically it didn't happen in this reality. Technically in this reality, none of that happened. And we talk about that with rewriting the past. We talk about that a lot with the cat. Always wants to join when I'm on any type of live stream. We will find that as we move forward with Ascension, we don't remember things that we... All right, let me get her in the window. She's got a little leg injury. Come here, baby. You want me to get you in the window? I'll get you in the window. Okay. All right. We're going to find that when we go through a lot of different iterations of realities, we want to try to remember. And I see a lot of people trying to link back in. I want to link back in. I want to remember. I don't want to not remember. I really want to be able to see this. I want to be able to remember this. I want to be able to be in this. And I can't. And that can be hard for a lot of us. Especially if it's a memory we used to cherish and now we can't hit that memory anymore. But a lot of people try to remember. And when you try to remember, you're also kind of sinking yourself back. You're kind of bringing yourself back into a different spot. You bring yourself back into something else. You're bringing yourself back into an older version, in a sense, of yourself. You're bringing yourself back into... You're dragging yourself back to a frequency. You're being tethered by these memories. That's why the memories have to go. And the farther you get, the easier it is for those memories to go. It's always going to be easier for these memories to go if you just let them go. And you'll be surprised what you just don't remember. And I think that's kind of the big thing. I see a lot of this, when you have to let stuff, resolve it, and you move away from it, whether it be, people stop eating meat at some point in this journey. You just cannot carry that forward. And I say that. And there's a couple other things that don't carry forward too. But I will tell you that will be done. That's done for everyone at some point. You just can't eat anything that came from a conscious animal. It doesn't work. You cannot eat it. You will eventually go to some type of plant-based diet. But if you're not there yet, and you're still wanting meat, then your body still needs it for a process it's doing. We get kind of bent out of shape on someone, oh, you can't be in an awakening because you're still doing this. None of that. You're going to do what feels right for you, but there will be a time you can't do it anymore because you'll get so attuned to the energy that the meat energy will start to, you can feel the death in it. You can feel the death in that energy, and you don't want it. You can't eat it anymore. So there's certain things that you have to let go of. But when it's time to let them go, it's not gonna bother you. That's when you know. That's when you know you're energetically done. Your body's done. You might find you used to be able to do a lot of caffeine, and you can't do caffeine, and you can do caffeine again, but it affects your body differently. You used to be able to maybe not do sugar, and now your body wants sugar. Sugar is one of the biggest things people want to put the big X on, especially human realities, human consciousness. Oh, sugar's bad for you. Your body, your crystalline body, your light body craves sugar. I mean, cake, cookies. I try to keep mine as clean as I can, or chocolate, or organic dark chocolate for your pineal gland. All these things you're going to want to eat. So anyone who's not eating sugar, doesn't want to eat bread, doesn't want to eat honey, a lot of these things also go into weaving your abundance energy. You know, there's the golden ray energies that come into a lot of this stuff. So if you're really going to be strict about your diet, which I'm not really sure we went on a tangent about our diet, but you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff you're going to try to be doing. And if you're not going to be able, if you're really going to hold on and not let your body eat what it wants to eat and let go of what it wants to let go of, you're going to find you're going to have a harder time. And you might bring in a reality to clear that stuff, because that's how your body's going to get to it. You know, your body's going to get to it by having a reality come forth where you're going to have to make these shifts. You know, if you're not going to do it this way, we're going to do it a different way. It kind of goes back into how we started this about we want to read other people. There's a lot of reasons we want to do that too. We want to feel special, right? We want to feel special. We want to be able to make us feel more important. Because in our human realities, we never felt that way, you know. So we want to show everybody, oh, look at all the things I can do now, you know. Look at all the power sets I have. But like I said, they're capped to a point because we can't be trusted, and it's more just like giving a child a little toy to start learning with. But they're not going to get like the bigger, more expensive, more far-reaching toys until you can actually come from a level of purity in what you're doing. I did a video years ago about sharing your dreams with people when you dreamed about people. And it's funny, that video came back up today on my feed for a reason. And it's funny because when you first start dreaming about people, we want to tell everybody, right? We're so excited. Oh my God, you were in my dream and this is what happened. Now, I have always been the person that wants to hear about that for different reasons. I want to know what I'm doing. It's a higher consciousness version of me. You know, what did I say? You know, what was going on with me? What was I doing? I'm always the kind of person who wants to know about it. But I'm also in a different consciousness than majority of humanity right now. But I always want to know, like, okay, you dreamed about me. What's going on? What was I doing? You know, what was I going to go do? You know, because sometimes we'll get messages about ourselves through someone else having a dream about us. Because we don't want to hear it ourselves. You know, I had a reality that played out like that. Somewhere I had to go, and I didn't want to go there. So I had a friend that said, oh, I dreamed you were going to this place. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm never going to go there. I was so rejecting it. Even though somewhere down the line, I had to do that reality. I just didn't want to do it. But it was a way for me to get the message through someone else. Now, that being said, when you dream about something, about a person, and it's not something that feels like you need to share it, it's a warning. We're going to do a warning dreams, which everyone has warning dreams. And I'm going to call them a warning dream, even though they're really not warning dreams. They shouldn't be ominous dreams, but they're usually just preparing you for a reality you're going to have to go through. Anyone who's had something human tragic happen to them, I will tell you, you knew about it first. One, because it's already occurred, and you're just going to go through it, and that's what you're tapping into. You're tapping into the energy and the dimension where it occurred already. And it's preparing you. You know, it's preparing you for these things to happen. It's cutting the cords to these people because these people might be leaving. Cutting the cords to this job because this job might be going away. Cutting the cords to this area. It's a way your dream world prepares you to let go. By seeing in these dimensions, these things have occurred and they are going to occur. They might be kind of an absolute point in the sense that they'll have to occur this way. You know, you can't, there are some things you can't kind of get away from. Some things you can't get out of. There's certain things that are going to happen for you to go into the next part of your journey. So we all have those. And sometimes we have those with other people involved. And we want to share that. Oh my gosh, I had this thing where you were doing this terrible thing and I feel like I have to warn you. I'm always very cautious about ever sharing that stuff. To me, that's always just for me. You have to kind of dig down and see how it feels for you. What's the reason for wanting to share it? You know, what is the real reason? Sometimes you can see a train wreck coming for someone, but they need to be hit by the train because that's going to push them into their awakening process. And it's not our job to keep people from that. It's our job to assist people through that if they want assistance. But it's not our job to stop it from happening by telling someone, oh, this could happen. And it also just perpetuates a lot of fear. So we really want to take great care in that. And a lot of times, some of this stuff is just for us. pretty much all this stuff is just for us. But there will be parts you'll know you're supposed to share. There'll be parts when you know I'm supposed to get on, I'm supposed to share this stuff, I'm supposed to let people know this stuff, this is important, you know. It feels like this is something I want to talk about. And we will get to those journeys too. And we get to those realities where we know we're supposed to. But in the beginning, you really want to look at why. You really want to see in that window. I'm afraid you're going to knock down my computer if I put you in there. All right. Come here. Come to this side where I can get you. I don't want you jumping with your leg. Come here. Oh, gosh. She's so heavy. Hold on. All right, go. Okay? There. Can we now? Just, all right. There we go. All is good now. All is well. All is well. Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, shared dreaming. Shared dreaming is a very powerful thing, and we need to look at it as that. We don't want to ever look at dreams, and this is probably one of the points to get to today. We don't ever want to look at any of this stuff as, oh, that's just kind of fun. You know, oh, that was just a fun thing. Some of the stuff we do are fun things, but everything has a power to it. Everything has an empowerment to it. And if we want to dismiss everything as, oh, it's just a quirky little fun thing that happened, we kind of miss the point. Because these things might not have felt like big things in our human realities. We want to take them and discount them in our soul aligned realities, in our higher aligned realities, and say, oh, this is not important. Oh, it doesn't matter. You know, these are just little things that don't matter. Whereas if we walk by these same scenes in our waking life, we'd be like, holy shit, we got to do something. You know, this is a message I'm getting. I got to help somebody, or I got to assist this, or I got to pull my stuff together because I got stuff coming I got to do. Where in our dream world, we just pish-posh it away. And no matter what it is, I know I've had this song that was in my head yesterday, and it was an old Eurythmic song, which I couldn't have pulled this song out from anywhere of the day before. And I was singing it to myself, and I'm like, I don't even know who sings it. Sometimes we'll just get the hook of the song, and I got the hook of the song, and I'm like, let me look it up. I don't even know where it comes from. Now, old me would have just dismissed that. You know, where did that come from? Where am I getting that song from? But now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is important. You know, this song is important. This is a song that it's an activation for me. There's something I got to go here. So we want to look at everything that happens. Anything that flashes up, comes into our awareness, it is important. It's not to be dismissed. Even things that come up on your feed, whether it be your Instagram feed, your YouTube feed, whatever, there's a reason it popped up. It's not some kind of, you know, crazy, what's the word? It's not some kind of crazy thing that happened like that. What a coincidence. There are no coincidences. There never were, and there never will be. We create everything as a sign. It's all a marker. It's all our video game. It's all something to show us the next phase. That's what all this stuff is. Well, if we try to knock it down where it's not that important, which is what our human tries to do, especially if you want to share it with someone in a strict human consciousness, which means just that's the one they lead by. That's the one they make decisions by. That's where they're reasoning by. They're programmed in a sense to knock that stuff down. You know, we don't want to be part of that. We don't want to really, I don't really want you to be involved in that. You know, we want to keep you in your human-based realities. That's kind of their job. So look at what we ignore. I mean, I do a lot of videos where I talk about look at what we ignore, but it always bears to be repeated. What was not important in your human realities is going to become pivotal to your higher consciousness realities, your dreams. What are you seeing? What's going on in there? What do you feel like you're supposed to do? What's flashing in my head? What's going on with me? You know, what is my environment trying? If I'm not listening inside, the universe will start sending you a very strong message outside. And sometimes we know, you know, we'll know we're supposed to do something and we start ignoring it, and then we'll start getting hit with it. It reminds me a lot, I know I've used this analogy before, in the first Harry Potter book and the movie did the same thing. When they were trying to hide Harry and didn't want him to go to Hogwarts and get the letter. It was 1 letter, 2 letters, and then they tried to run from it, and then they were getting just bombarded with hundreds and hundreds of letters, and they could not get away from it. It's the same thing. Your universe will do the same thing, except it's not a letter. It's going to be a brick. The universe will just start lobbing bricks at you after a while, because it has to move you off the mark. It has to move you off the spot. It has to move you out of that reality. It has to get your attention. And if it's not getting your attention, by just a quick nudge, poke, 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 it's going to start slap, slap, slap because it really wants to get your attention. It really wants you to pay attention. So, all right. I think, yeah, she's very happy looking at birds out the window, though I don't think she could get up and catch one of those birds if she had to, but I don't know. Maybe she could. I don't know. Maybe she could. I do want to check one other thing. This is the first time I have used this stream. Okay, there is a little delay. I'm kind of learning how this works as I go here. Okay, so I have any questions, I'll answer them. I don't see any right now. If I have any, I'm happy to do them. If not, I'll probably be back next month for questions. If you didn't catch this and you want to ask a question, you can always put it in the comments and I will ask it then. Or if it's a topic, I can address it on a video or address it in a live stream somewhere. I do also live stream on Twitch, but my days are kind of all over the place on Twitch lately. So I'm going to try to stick to a little more consistency this year. But it's kind of tough sometimes when we don't know what we're going to have the energy to do and what we're going to have to be doing. So, all right, I'll check. I didn't see anything else I want to bring in. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else right now. I am going to do a video about the galactic core as soon as I kind of finish understanding that. I'm kind of in the middle of my own galactic core activation. Once I get to a different place in that, then I'm going to bring that forth. But right now, I'm not sure yet. I kind of want to sit with that one for a little bit longer. So, okay, I will see everyone next time, and just be aware. Really look at what's going on. When you think you're not getting the message, you're not getting the answer, I will guarantee you just don't like the one you're getting. Guarantee you. I know. I've been there. I've been the first one saying, oh, I just don't know. I'm not getting an answer because the one I got, I did not want to have to do. The ones that push you through your fear are the ones you're going to have to do. I promise you that one too. All right. See you next time. Bye.